Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday Recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. It's been a pretty good week, I would say. So let's start with EVE Online, where I did a decent amount of exploration, including a Minmatar ship that was pretty interesting. Definitely not the best option for PvE, but then I do think that the Minmatar often have very strong PvP options. So most of my exploration was actually done in the Ishtar. I still think that relaxed way of doing exploration is my favorite one, where I just drop my sentry drones, blop everything at range, take care of the few little enemies that manage to get too close with some small drones. And in the meantime, if there is a primary target, just take that one out first, grab the loot with the tractor unit and get out. So it's going really well. I still absolutely enjoy exploration in EVE Online. It's making me a decent ISK as well, which I'm trying to invest in the market. That has not gone that well last week. So at the moment, the general vibe in the market that I'm having from making EVE talk is that Plex are going to highs again, so there's lots and lots of ISK that is again flowing into that Plex market, the skill injector market, skill extractor market, and as a result lots of the other goods are depressed. That means that actively trading and making profits is very difficult right now, so I am focusing on trying to buy some really cheap goods that find themselves at 1 year lows, exactly the opposite of the Plex chart often. And as a result, yeah, it's mostly buying, and I'm pretty hesitant to go with big numbers, big volumes, big ISK in that. So I'm very careful, and finding Twitch trades is not very easy. I think the Tech 2 market basically lends itself the best to that. You've got some ammo, some rigs from time to time, and also some of the ships I've seen actually have this very wide margin between buyers and sellers, but that also means that it's very difficult to actually buy something from a buy order in Jita at the moment. So it's not easy investing my ISK in the market right now. Next to that, of course, the blueprint copy business. The Orca blueprints are still selling very well, and then the structural blueprints are doing okay, although there is decent competition coming in there from time to time as well. And I finally decided to empty out my PI planets again. I think I've got like 600 million in stuff to bring to a trade hub and sell as well, which is doing surprisingly well actually. Most of the non-fuel PI materials are back to their averages, and then the fuel-related PI materials like coolants are actually doing really well with well above average prices at the moment. So it's a great time to, I think, unload all of that extra PI that I still have and turn that into liquid ISK. Next up, we have Total War Warhammer 2, where I finished a campaign with the Slan. So the lizard people. That was very pleasant actually. Once you get to know the game, doing a campaign actually is not that time consuming anymore. You know when, well, this is just a battle that I should allow the PC to just handle without me having to fight myself, and you can focus on the more challenging battles when the enemy does decide to counterattack, or you have those final sieges. I do enjoy doing those myself with like 2 or 3 armies to come in and to really crush the enemy. The Slan are really a completely different playstyle from the High Elves and the Dark Elves, because they can't really take their most basic units. For the elves it's like spears and then archers at the back, and you know those archers have great ranges, extremely massive advantage compared to most of the other enemies. Here you have to focus a little bit more on strong melee units, charge bonuses, get in there, and then of course also some cavalry, some fast units to chase after the enemy skirmish units, which often are basically just set at skirmish and will always try to avoid any melee interaction. So that can be a bit of a pain in the butt, but the Slan do have some good options for that. And we basically started on that western continent, conquered all of it. That was actually decently fun to first take some elves out, then crush the entire desert with the Tomb Kings. That was actually pretty hard to do. Had to invest quite a bit in my armies in order to do that. Then we took out the orcs, and then we still had the humans that actually were conquering and were conquering the coast part of that continent. So we crushed everything. Then we went over to the main elves continent, grabbed some cities there, managed to get the final ritual done before anyone else, and then we have the final battle for the the vortex itself, where you have to fight army after army after army, but you get some pretty decently large advantages from the vortex itself as well. So yeah, lots of fun honestly with Total War Warhammer 2. I think it's a great game. I've sank quite a bit of time in it already. At this point, the Skaven, well, if I find the energy and the time, I'll try it. I do think that their hunger mechanic, their food mechanic is just an added layer that makes them a bit of a pain in the butt to play compared to all of the others. But I'm also going to keep an eye on the DLC because the Tomb Kings are really fun, I think, and once those Tomb Kings and the pirates have. The pirates, by the way, have amazing looking units, like some crazy boat-like monsters that do massive damage as well at range and in melee. So that's a faction that I want to play as well. Those two DLC, once they're on sale, I think I'm going to grab them and make some playthroughs with them as well. But it's a great game, honestly, Total War Warhammer 2, and absolutely worth the price. Now that I only paid like 20 euros for it, I've got like a couple hundred hours, I think, almost in the game at this point. This brings me to my extra little game this week. That was Hearthstone. I played a few games of that because I do take a look at the game every now and then just to see if the new solo adventure has come out. It hasn't launched so far. I'm decently excited for that. I really enjoyed that. Rasticon's Rumble was lots of fun. The Witchwood, I replayed a lot of that as well. And so that solo adventure, you know, free to play, friendly. You don't need any big cards or anything like that in order to get going on that, is absolutely an amazing part of Hearthstone, in my opinion. That is something that keeps me coming back. But while taking a look at it, I had so many quests to do a tavern brawl that I decided to take a look at that, or a couple of tavern brawls, I should say. And honestly, this week was pretty interesting. You basically get handed a champion deck, a deck that has won like a major event or something like that. And that was quite cool to see as well, to finally have one of those super powerful decks to play against another super powerful deck, and to have that. Well, alright, I recognize actually as a Toon warrior, I recognize some of the decks there, and you can try to play them as well as possible. Very interesting little side adventure there in Hearthstone that I did enjoy, and I was again really friendly to free-to-play players that don't want to invest hundreds of dollars or euros in getting all the cards so that they can keep up with the meta in Constructed, which is also really not my goal. But I must say I'm impressed by that. Whenever I come back to Hearthstone, Blizzard does seem to put out content that is very friendly to new players and to players that don't want to invest lots of money, real life money, into their constructed decks. So yeah, great stuff actually, and I am looking forward to that new solo adventure. And that was my last week in games, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.